My name is Layla and I am 34 years old. The day I buried my husband Marcus should have been the worst day of my life. It was until my sister Brianna stood up at the reception afterward, cleared her throat, and announced she had something important to share. Something Marcus had left specifically for this moment. If you have ever discovered that the person you thought you knew had been keeping life-altering secrets, let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like and subscribe button and stay for a story about how Hidden will reveal truths I never saw coming. Growing up in the Chen household meant understanding your place in the family hierarchy. My parents, Henry and Margaret Chen, were traditional in many ways, though they had immigrated to Seattle from Taiwan before my older sister Brianna and I were born. Education was paramount. Success was expected. And family loyalty, they told us repeatedly, was everything. Brianna was born 3 years before me, and from the moment I became aware of family dynamics, I understood that she was the favorite. It was not malicious exactly, just a fact of life. She was the firstborn, the one who met every parental expectation with ease. Straight A's throughout school, accepted to Stanford for her undergraduate degree, then Harvard Law. She became a successful corporate attorney at one of Seattle's most prestigious firms, married another attorney named David, and lived in a beautiful home in Queen Anne. I, on the other hand, took a different path. I loved art, music, and literature. Things my parents considered hobbies rather than careers. I attended the University of Washington for graphic design, which my father called a waste of tuition money. After graduation, I worked as a freelance designer, taking on various projects while trying to build a portfolio. The income was inconsistent, the hours were long, and my parents never missed an opportunity to compare my situation unfavorably to Brianna's. "Why cannot you be more like your sister?" My mother would sigh during family dinners. "She has stability, security, a real career." The comments stung, but I learned to brush them off. At least I tried to. The truth was, I often felt like the family disappointment, the daughter who had not quite measured up. Everything changed when I met Marcus Thompson at a gallery opening 5 years ago. I had been hired to design promotional materials for the event, and Marcus was there as a guest. He was an architect, successful in his own right, with a quiet confidence that immediately drew me in. Where my family saw my career as frivolous, Marcus saw my talent. He would spend hours looking at my designs, offering thoughtful feedback, encouraging me to pursue bigger clients and more ambitious projects. "Marcus," I would tell him, "you do not have to pretend my work is more important than it is." He would shake his head firmly. "Layla, you are brilliant. Do not let anyone make you believe otherwise. Not even your family." We were married within a year, a small ceremony that my parents attended with polite enthusiasm rather than genuine joy. Brianna was my maid of honor, and while she hugged me and smiled for photos, I could not shake the feeling that she viewed my marriage as another way I was settling for less than I deserved. "Marcus comes from money," my mother whispered to Brianna during the reception, not realizing I was within earshot. "At least Layla will be taken care of. She could never have managed on her own." The comment hurt, but Marcus squeezed my hand when he saw my expression. "Their opinions do not matter," he said gently. "We know the truth about us. That is enough." Marcus and I built a life together in a charming craftsman house in Ballard. He continued his architectural work while I finally started my own design studio. With Marcus's encouragement and financial backing, I was able to take on select projects rather than scrambling for any work that came my way. My business grew steadily, and for the first time in my adult life, I felt proud of what I had accomplished. Marcus was my biggest supporter, but he was also intensely private about certain aspects of his life. He came from a wealthy family in Boston. The Thompsons were old money, the kind that did not need to flaunt their wealth because everyone already knew about it. Marcus had distanced himself from most of his family years before I met him, citing philosophical differences he never fully explained. He kept in touch with his younger brother Nathan, but otherwise maintained minimal contact with the Thompson clan. "I have everything I need right here," he would say, pulling me close. "You are my family now, Layla." There were moments when his secrecy troubled me. He had a safe in his home office that I was not allowed to access. Important documents, he explained. Family trust papers, investment records, boring legal stuff. You do not need to worry about any of it. When I suggested we should both know where these documents were kept, just in case something happened, he would deflect. Nothing is going to happen, Layla. And if it does, everything is arranged. My lawyer has instructions. You will be taken care of. I promise. I trusted him. Why would not I? Marcus had never given me reason to doubt his word. But looking back now, I realized there were signs. Small inconsistencies that I overlooked because I was so happy, so secure in our relationship. The phone calls he would take in another room, speaking in hushed tones before returning with a forced smile. The business trips that sometimes extended unexpectedly. The way he would change the subject whenever I asked about his family's history or his inheritance. You are overthinking it, he would assure me. Some things are just complicated. Family money always is. 3 months ago, Marcus started complaining of persistent headaches. At first, we both dismissed them as stress from a particularly demanding project. He was designing a mixed-use development downtown, and the client was notoriously difficult. But when the headaches intensified and he started experiencing vision problems, I insisted he see a doctor. The diagnosis came back like a death sentence. Glioblastoma. An aggressive brain tumor. The oncologist's words seemed to echo in the sterile examination room. Stage 4. Inoperable. 6 months, maybe a year with aggressive treatment. Marcus squeezed my hand so hard it hurt, but I barely noticed. The world had tilted sideways, and I could not seem to find my balance. How is this possible? I whispered. He is only 38 years old. He runs every morning. He eats healthy. How? The doctor's expression was sympathetic but professional. Sometimes there is no clear cause. I am truly sorry. The next few months were a blur of medical appointments, experimental treatments, and desperate hope that gradually gave way to grim acceptance. Marcus handled his diagnosis with remarkable grace, more concerned about my well-being than his own deteriorating condition. Promise me something, he said one night as we lay in bed, his body frail from chemotherapy. Promise me you will not let this destroy you. You are so strong, Layla. Stronger than you know. I am not strong, I sobbed against his chest. I cannot do this without you. Yes, you can. And you will. His hand stroked my hair with weakening strength. There are things you need to know, arrangements I have made. But not yet. Soon. What kind of arrangements? I asked, pulling back to look at his face. Marcus, you are scaring me. He smiled, that familiar gentle smile I had fallen in love with. Do not be scared. Everything is going to make sense soon. I have made sure of it. I should have pressed him for details, demanded to know what he meant. But I was too consumed with grief, too focused on savoring every remaining moment we had together. The questions could wait. Except they could not. Marcus died on a Tuesday morning in October, with me holding his hand and whispering how much I loved him. The hospice nurse who had been caring for him at home during his final weeks said he had gone peacefully. But there was nothing peaceful about the gaping hole his absence left in my life. My family rallied around me in the immediate aftermath. My mother flew in from their retirement home in Arizona, taking over my kitchen and cooking all the meals I could not bring myself to eat. My father handled the logistics of notifying Marcus's limited family and arranging the funeral service. And Brianna, surprisingly, was constantly by my side. She took a week off from her demanding law practice to help me navigate the overwhelming details that follow a death. Insurance claims, medical bills, canceling subscriptions, and credit cards. The thousand small administrative tasks that seem impossibly cruel when you are drowning in grief. You do not have to face this alone, Brianna said, her arm around my shoulders as we sat in Marcus's office, sorting through papers. That is what family is for. I leaned against her, grateful for the support even as a small part of my brain wondered at this sudden shift in our relationship. Brianna and I had always been cordial, but we had never been particularly close. She was too busy with her high-powered career, and I had always felt like I existed in her shadow. The funeral was held at a small chapel in Ballard, the neighborhood Marcus and I had made our home. I had agonized over every detail, wanting to honor him properly while also keeping the service intimate and personal. Marcus would not have wanted anything ostentatious. About 50 people attended. Friends from Marcus's architecture firm, a few neighbors, my parents, and Brianna with her husband David. Nathan, Marcus's younger brother, flew in from Boston along with an uncle I had only met once before. The Thompson family's minimal representation spoke volumes about Marcus's estrangement from them. The service was beautiful, painful, and surreal. I sat in the front row, mechanically accepting condolences and listening to eulogies that painted Marcus as the talented, kind man I knew he was. But the words felt like they were reaching me through water, muffled and distant. After the burial, everyone returned to our house for the reception. My mother and several friends had prepared food, and people filled our home with the awkward energy that always accompanies post-funeral gatherings. The living trying to comfort the grieving while navigating the discomfort of mortality's presence. I moved through the rooms like a ghost, accepting hugs and murmured sympathies while feeling utterly disconnected from my own body. At one point, I retreated to the bathroom, locking the door and sitting on the edge of the tub, trying to remember how to breathe. When I finally emerged, I found Brianna standing in the hallway, an envelope in her hand and a strange expression on her face. "Layla," she said quietly, "we need to talk. There is something you need to see." "Not now," I pleaded. "I cannot handle anything else today. It has to be now." Her voice was firm but not unkind. Marcus made sure of that. He left specific instructions about when this should be shared. She led me to Marcus's home office, closing the door behind us to muffle the sounds of the reception. My parents and several other family members followed, sensing something significant was happening. "What is going on?" my mother asked, her eyes moving between Brianna and me. Brianna held up the envelope. 2 weeks before Marcus passed, he called me. He asked me to come by the house when Layla was out running errands. He gave me this envelope and made me promise to read it aloud immediately after his funeral, with the family present. My heart started pounding. Why would he give it to you? Why not leave it with his lawyer? He said he trusted me to follow his instructions exactly. Brianna's expression was unreadable. And he said the timing was crucial. That you needed to hear this today, Layla, surrounded by people who care about you. She opened the envelope and pulled out several sheets of paper covered in Marcus's distinctive handwriting. As she began to read, I felt the room tilt once again. To my beloved Layla, the letter began. If you are hearing this, then I am gone and I am so sorry for the pain my absence causes you. I am sorrier still for the secrets I kept, secrets that seemed necessary at the time, but that I now realize have only complicated the truth. This letter is my attempt to finally be honest about who I was and what I have done for you. Brianna paused, glancing at me with concern. Do you want me to continue? I nodded, unable to speak. She read on. When we met 5 years ago, I knew within days that you were the person I had been waiting for my entire life. Your talent, your kindness, your determination to succeed despite your family's lack of faith in you. All of it captivated me. But I also recognized something else. I saw how your family's favoritism toward Brianna had damaged your self-worth. How their constant comparisons made you doubt your own value. I felt my face flush with embarrassment. Everyone in the room knew about my family dynamics, but having them laid bare in Marcus's words was humiliating. The letter continued. I come from significant family wealth, as you know. What you do not know is the extent of that wealth or the control I had over it. When I distanced myself from my family years ago, I did so on my terms. I negotiated a settlement that gave me complete independence from the Thompson family trusts. That settlement totaled $15 million. I gasped. 15 million? Marcus had always been comfortable financially, but I had assumed his success came from his architecture career, not family money. I never told you the full truth about my finances, Brianna continued reading, because I did not want money to define our relationship. I wanted you to love me for who I was, not what I had. And you did. You loved me when I was just Marcus, the architect who admired your work. That meant everything to me. Tears were streaming down my face now, but I motioned for Brianna to keep reading. Over our 5 years together, I watched you struggle. I watched you doubt yourself because your family did not value your career the way they valued Brianna's. I watched you take on clients who undervalued your work because you did not believe you deserved better. And it broke my heart because I could see your potential so clearly. So I did something that I knew you would never accept if you knew about it. I invested in you secretly. What does that mean? I interrupted, my voice shaky. Invested in me how? Brianna found the next page. Let me read his explanation. Do you remember 3 years ago when you landed that major client, the real estate development company that wanted you to redesign their entire brand identity? You told me you could not believe they had chosen you over more established firms. I remembered. It had been the project that really launched my design studio, the one that led to other high-profile clients and finally gave me confidence in my abilities. They chose you because your work was brilliant, Brianna read. But they found you because I made sure they did. I had my lawyer contact them anonymously, showing them your portfolio and explaining that you were an undiscovered talent. I paid for the introduction, essentially, though they never knew it. My mouth fell open. That client had been the turning point in my career. Everything I had built since then had come from the credibility that project gave me. I did the same thing 5 more times over the years, the letter continued. The tech startup that hired you for their app redesign. The nonprofit that commissioned the campaign you were so proud of. The boutique hotel chain. All of them were connected to you through anonymous referrals that I orchestrated and funded. No, I whispered. That cannot be true. I earned those clients. They chose me because of my work. Your work was always exceptional, Layla. That is why they all stayed with you and recommended you to others. I just made sure they saw your work in the first place. I gave you opportunities that your lack of connections and your family's lack of support had denied you. I felt sick. My entire career, the thing I was most proud of, had been built on Marcus's secret manipulation. Every success I had celebrated, every milestone that had made me feel capable and talented, had been orchestrated by my husband without my knowledge. I know you are probably angry right now, the letter continued. I know this feels like a betrayal. But please understand my intention. I did not do this because I doubted your abilities. I did it because I knew your family's treatment of you had created barriers that had nothing to do with your actual talent. I simply removed some of those barriers. This is insane, I said, my voice rising. He had no right. He should have told me. Keep reading, my father said quietly. There is more. Brianna found her place in the letter again. The diagnosis changed everything. When I learned I was dying, I realized I needed to ensure your security, not just emotionally and financially. I needed to make sure you would finally see yourself the way I had always seen you, as talented, capable, and worthy of every success. So I made arrangements. First, financially. After my death, you will inherit everything I have. The house is paid off and in your name. My investment portfolio, worth approximately $8 million after taxes, transfers to you. My life insurance policy, $2 million, is yours. And I have established a trust fund that will pay you $15,000 monthly for the rest of your life, regardless of your other income. The room erupted in shocked murmurs. I sat frozen, unable to process the numbers Brianna was reciting. She held up a hand for silence and continued reading. I know this is overwhelming. But here is what I need you to understand, Layla. This money is not charity. It is not me saving you or rescuing you. It is simply removing the financial anxiety that has plagued you your entire life. Anxiety your family instilled in you by constantly comparing your career unfavorably to Brianna's. With this security, you can choose clients based on creative passion rather than financial necessity. You can take risks. You can be the artist I always knew you were. But there is more. And this is the part that will likely upset you most. I braced myself as Brianna turned to the next page. I have also established trusts for your parents and for Brianna. Your parents will receive $50,000 per year for the rest of their lives. Comfortable but not extravagant. And Brianna will receive a one-time payment of $500,000. What? Brianna lowered the letter, her face pale. Why would he do that? Keep reading, I said, my voice hard. I want to hear his reasoning. She nodded and continued. I am leaving money to your family because I want to remove the financial disparity that has always colored your relationships. Your parents favored Brianna partly because they believed she was more successful, more stable. They worried about you constantly because they equated your creative career with financial insecurity. Now you will have more financial security than Brianna. More than your parents. Not because you need to be rescued, but because your talent and hard work have always deserved this level of success. I am simply making sure you receive it. To Henry and Margaret, I want you to understand that your daughter Layla is extraordinarily talented. I have watched her succeed despite your lack of support, not because of it. I hope this gift will help you see her differently. To finally recognize what I always saw, a daughter worthy of your pride and encouragement. My mother was crying quietly, my fave. R's arm around her shoulders. And to Brianna, the letter continued. You have been a good sister in your own way, but you have also benefited from being the favored child. You never questioned why your parents supported your dreams while dismissing Layla's. You never used your position to advocate for your sister when she needed it. This money comes with a request. Use it however you want, but I hope you will also use this moment to reflect on your relationship with Layla. She has always looked up to you, wanted your approval, your respect. I hope you will give her both, not because of what I have left her, but because she deserves it. Brianna's hands were shaking now, and tears were rolling down her cheeks. The letter was almost finished. Finally, to my Layla. I love you. I have loved you from the moment I met you, and I will love you beyond death. Everything I have done, all the secrets I kept, were because I wanted to give you what you should have had all along. Recognition. Security. Freedom. Please do not spend your life second-guessing your accomplishments. The clients I helped you find stayed with you because your work was exceptional. They referred you to others because you earned their trust and respect. I just made sure they discovered you in the first place. Build the life you want. Take the risks you have always been afraid to take. Create art that matters to you rather than what you think will sell. And please, please know that you are enough. You have always been enough. Your loving husband, Marcus. The room was silent when Brianna finished reading. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, my mind reeling from everything I had just learned. My entire understanding of my marriage, my career, my family dynamics. Everything had shifted. Marcus had spent our 5 years together secretly orchestrating opportunities for me while also planning for a future he knew he would not be part of. Layla, my mother said softly. We did not realize. We never meant to make you feel less than Brianna. But you did, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. My whole life, you made me feel like I was not good enough. And Marcus spent his life trying to undo that damage. I turned to Brianna, who was staring at the letter in her hands. And you? You knew. You saw how they treated me differently, but you never said anything. You just enjoyed being the favorite. That is not fair, Brianna protested weakly. I did not realize it was that bad. Did not you? Or did you just not want to see it? The anger felt good, cleansing. For years, I had swallowed my hurt, convinced myself that I was being too sensitive, that I should be grateful for the crumbs of approval my family occasionally threw my way. But Marcus's letter had validated everything I had always felt. The disparity had been real. The favoritism had been damaging. And my family had been complicit. Over the following days, as the shock of Marcus's revelations settled into something more manageable, I began the difficult process of sorting through my feelings. I was grateful for his financial security he had provided, but I was also furious that he had kept so many secrets. I was touched by his efforts to boost my career, but I was devastated that my successes might not have been entirely my own. I met with Marcus's lawyer, a kind woman named Stephanie who had been executor of his will. She walked me through all the financial arrangements Marcus had made, confirming everything the letter had described. He was very specific about the timing of the reveal, she explained. He wanted you to be surrounded by family when you learned the truth. He believed you would need their support, even if the revelations were uncomfortable. Did he tell you why he kept all of this secret from me? I asked. Why he did not just tell me about the money or the career help while he was alive? Stephanie smiled sadly. He said you were too proud to accept help. That you needed to believe you had earned your success on your own merit. He was trying to give you both the opportunities you deserved and the satisfaction of believing you had earned them through your own talent. But that was a lie, I said bitterly. He manipulated everything. Did he? Stephanie pulled out a folder from her desk. Marcus asked me to give you this if you felt that way. Inside were copies of all the proposals and portfolios I had submitted to the clients Marcus had steered toward me. Alongside them were competitive proposals from other design firms that had also been considered. Your work was always the best, Stephanie said. Marcus made sure these companies saw your portfolio, but you won the contracts because you were the most talented candidate. He did not buy your success, Layla. He just made sure you got in the door. Looking at the evidence of my own work, seeing how it compared favorably to competitors, I felt something shift inside me. Maybe Marcus had not been entirely wrong. Maybe his secret interventions had not invalidated my accomplishments, but had simply given me the opportunities that my lack of connections and my family's lack of support had denied me. The revelations also forced my family to confront their own behavior. My parents arranged a family meeting 2 weeks after the funeral, just me, them, and Brianna. Your father and I have been talking a lot since Marcus's letter, my mother began. We did not realize how much our favoritism hurt you, Layla. We thought we were being practical, supporting Brianna's stable career while worrying about your financial future. We did not see that we were damaging your self-esteem. My father, who had always been a man of few emotional words, surprised me by adding, we were wrong. Your career, your art, it is just as valuable as Brianna's law practice. More valuable in some ways because you built it despite our doubts, not because of our support. Brianna also spoke up, her voice thick with emotion. I have been thinking a lot about what Marcus wrote, about how I benefited from being the favorite and never questioned it. You are right that I saw the disparity and did nothing. I told myself it was not my responsibility, that you seemed fine. But you were not fine, and I should have been a better sister. The conversations were painful and awkward, but they were also necessary. For the first time in my life, my family was acknowledging the dynamics that had shaped our relationships. They were not perfect conversations. Years of ingrained patterns could not be undone in a few hours. But they were a start. 3 months have passed since Marcus's death and the reading of his hidden will. I am still grieving, still angry sometimes at his secrecy, still wrestling with what his revelations mean for how I understand my own life. But I am also building something new. With the financial security Marcus provided, I have completely restructured my design business. I now take on only projects that excite me creatively. I have started teaching a design course at the community college, something I never had time for when I was constantly hustling for clients. And I have begun work on a personal project, a visual memoir about my relationship with Marcus, expressed through graphic art. My relationship with my family is different now too. Better in some ways, more honest certainly. My mother calls regularly now, asking about my work with genuine interest rather than veiled concern about my finances. My father sends me articles about graphic design trends and exhibitions, showing an engagement with my field he never demonstrated before. And Brianna, surprisingly, has become a real sister to me. She used part of the money Marcus left her to take a sabbatical from her law firm. We have been meeting for dinner every week, actually talking about our lives, our feelings, our complicated childhoods. The sister relationship I always wanted is finally developing, born from the ashes of grief and forced honesty. I think Marcus knew all of this would happen. I think he understood that his death would create an opportunity for transformation, not just for me but for my entire family. His hidden will was not just about money. It was about truth, about forcing everyone to confront the reality of our relationships and our choices. Sometimes I am angry at him for keeping secrets, for manipulating situations without my knowledge. Other times I am overwhelmed with gratitude for his love and his faith in me. Most times, I am both angry and grateful simultaneously, holding contradictory emotions in tension. What I know for certain is that Marcus loved me deeply and imperfectly. He saw potential in me that I did not see in myself. And he used his resources, his connections, and yes, his secrets to help me succeed. It was not the way I would have chosen, but I cannot deny that it worked. I am not the same person I was before Marcus died. I am not the woman who doubted her own worth, who accepted crumbs of approval from family members who should have been my biggest supporters. I am someone stronger now, someone who understands her own value, not because of the money Marcus left me, but because of the truth his hidden will revealed. The truth that I was always talented enough, always deserving of success, always worthy of love and respect. The barriers were never my own inadequacy. They were other people's doubts, other people's favoritism, other people's blindness to what was always there. Marcus did not create my talent. He simply made sure the world could see it. And in doing so, he gave me the greatest gift possible, the ability to finally see it in myself. Have you ever had someone believe in you more than you believed in yourself? Have you ever discovered secrets after someone died that changed how you understood your relationship? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this resonated with you, please like and subscribe to support this channel and share with anyone who might need this message. Thank you for witnessing my journey. And remember, sometimes the most profound acts of love are the ones we never see coming.